Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you can view me live from. Today is a beautiful Friday. It sounds strange because it's always we always meet here every Thursday. My name is Peace Ubuago Abaimu, and I'm your host of the weekly regular Talk with Peace live show. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. At Twitter, you find me at Peace Abaimu. You'll find me live on Twitter at Peace Abide. Okay, so let me quickly welcome everyone who's live with me, who can view me from wherever, from whatever part of the world, and I want to appreciate you for being with me on the show today. I've actually usually, like I said earlier, usually have to do this on Thursdays, but today is a little bit different because yesterday my first son turned 10. I did not halt the show just because of that. There were other issues, there were other things that were factors to are pushing the show to today. But here we are, and thankfully, we're having a guest. Ms. Hadassah will be here to discuss with us on the topic we've titled Understanding Temperament. How well do you know? I'm certain that she knows her onions and she'll be here to share what she knows on the topic. Okay, let me quickly do a recap of last week's topic. Last week we dealt with being single and loving it. We had Pastor Mrs. Joy Ejisu join us, and we talked about several things one can be doing while they're single that could keep them focused and keep them on the path of purpose without necessarily wanting to rush into the institution called marriage. Marriage is a beautiful thing. I believe me, it is. Okay, so it's not like we're trying to discourage you from getting married, but we want you to know that you could live a single, purposeful single life while waiting for the institution of marriage to happen for you. And whether it happens or you know that you found your niche and you're walking in it. That's exactly why we had that topic last week. Okay, let me quickly welcome everyone who will be joining me today, whether you're joining me for the first time or you're a constant viewer, or you just dabbled on the topic or the link and decided to just pop in and see what we're doing. I do know that some people are joining me live right now. Yes, I was a little bit flustered when I started, and I'm sure it showed in my opening speech, but I'm beginning to get a grip on myself. Okay, it's not usual for me to have this show on Friday. It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday show, but here we are, and we have to make do of whatever, like they say, life throws at you. When life throws lemons, you make what? Lemonade. And you could as well throw it into the fridge or freezer to make it cool while you sleep. Don't mind me. Okay, so today we're discussing understanding temperament. The topic about temperaments is a very interesting one. Growing up, I read a couple of books on temperaments and kind of helped shape who I saw myself to be, how I saw myself, growing up. And it's a rare privilege every time I get to discuss the topic temperament with anyone because it's an interesting one. Okay, so I'll be waiting to have my guests join me on the show today. While we wait, I'll quickly ask that as soon as you join, please, if you do not mind, drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching me live from. If you also do not mind, give me a like. I've seen 1 or 2 likes here and there. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. I'd like you to also help me share this video. What we're doing, as in, like I said in my last episode, I do not pay those who have come on the show. They came strictly as volunteers to share what they know. But one thing I do usually is to ask you to follow them so that you can also participate in the things that they have to offer on their platforms. And I bet you, because of the amount of knowledge they get to share on the show, I bet you that they do have much more. We just have an hour to discuss usually. But beyond this 1 hour, they have a lot to give to impact you with. So I do encourage to follow them on their platforms. And if they have paid counseling sessions or paid programs, paid master classes, do yourself a word of favor to take hold of those, because it will greatly make a difference in your life. Okay, so please do me a favor, share the link to this video, share the link. If you're on Facebook, please share, share, share. If you're on YouTube, do share as well. Let's have more people joining on the show today. So if you're live with me today, I'd like you to please indicate that you're live. And if you do not mind, also tell me where you're joining me live from. I do know that I have people watching me from all over the world. Trust, I know they make mouth. It's just what it is. I do have people joining from all over the world most times. And then some other people get to watch later after we've done the live shows. Okay, so while we wait for our guests to join in on the live, I'd like you to share the link. I'd like you to drop a comment. I'd like you to say hi. I'd like you to say hello. I'd like you to say something. Yeah, did you notice I'm wearing a new hair today? Yes, I had to braid my hair this time. For some reasons, I decided to lock my hair, and have the soft virgin hair, so I had to lock it. So it's looking cute. Thank you, thank you. I know. The compliment is there in part. Don't mind me. I'm just goofing around this afternoon. I'm actually excited. You know, it's an exciting experience. For me, it's the first time I have a child turn 10. You know, I look back and I'm like, where did we start from? Where did he? Sometimes I look at this young man and I'm like, where did he even come from? At what point did he enter into my life? And look back at the years, and 10 years have already gone by. I just truly appreciate God for the life of the man, and looking forward to the greater things God has in store for him. Okay, so I'm excited. I'm an excited mom today. First son, 2 digits. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Okay, so where is my guest? I'm waiting to have Hadassah in the house, in the building, so that we can get the show on the road. Okay, hi Hadassah, where are you? Waiting for you to click your link so I can have you on the show. Where is Hadassah? I'm ready to have you discuss understanding temperaments. How well do you know you? I'm sure a lot of people have questions on this topic. Growing up, I learned about the 4 basic temperaments: the choleric, the sanguine, the melancholy, and the phlegmatic. And I grew up believing that I was a sanguine, based on, now when you're the type that is usually the boisterous one around the house, you feel, oh, okay, when you hear about the temperaments, you just believe that you fall into the sanguine category. But I did take some tests along the line, and I'd like to ask Miss Hadassah what changed or what happened. I did take some tests along the line, some temperament tests, and I was told I was a male flag, and I was like, me, male flag, me that I believe I'm the life of the party. Obviously, I'm not as lively as I used to think that I am, because the test proved otherwise. Okay, so do you know what your temperament is? How well have you studied your temperament? Do you notice your temperament every time, every other time, when you relate to people, and when you have to make decisions, or, whatever, side of life you find yourself, what do you know about the temperament? I'd like us to discuss today while we wait for Miss Hadassah. So if you're already live with me, I'd like you to drop a comment. I'd like you to say something about the temperament. Tell me what you know about the temperament. Like I just mentioned, the 4 basic ones. Trust me, I cannot see you. I do not know who's live with me. I only know that I have people joining me live, but I do not know who they are. So until they send me comments or drop me likes, I cannot exactly say this is who's online with me. So please do me a favor. Okay, so what just happened right now? Drop me a comment in the comment section. Let me know you're live with me. Tell me where you're watching from, and take it a step further by sharing the link to the video. Please just do that. I'm sure it won't take you okay, it won't take you a minute to share the video. Just click on the share button. You don't even have to write anything. Just share. You never know who will be passing by on your wall and find the link to the video and find the information shared therein useful. That's why I keep saying share, share, share. Please do help me share the link to the video. Share on your wall. Let other people come join us. While we wait for Miss Adasa, we're 15 minutes gone into the time of the show, and I'm still waiting to see my guest. If you do not mind, you give me a minute. Let me quickly give her a buzz to find out why she is here to join us. Okay? If you do not mind, just a minute. Okay, so I'm back. I just quickly had to, yeah. So she's right here with us. Like we say in church, with Jesus joy, would you help me welcome Miss Hadassah? If your hands are not too busy, like we say in church again. But I
Yeah,
do know
praise the Lord.
if your hands are not too
I
busy,
feel like we're
please
in
help me
church
put
right
your hands.
now.
Exactly, it
Hallelujah.
feels that way sometimes. Put your hands together. My guest is in the building. I'm so excited to see you.
Yeah, same
Good
here, sis. I'm
afternoon.
excited to be here as well.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I
Good
have
afternoon.
Hadassah here with me. I would love to read her bio. But before then, how has it been? How's your Friday going?
Yeah, very well. It's been
Okay.
bubbly, it's been restful.
Okay,
I'm off
beautiful.
duty, so I've
Okay.
been home all day and, of course,
Good.
preparing for the show. So
Oh,
here we
thank
are.
you. Thank you. And how's the weather where you are?
Yeah, it's so cool right here. I don't know how it feels outside because I don't think I've stepped
Okay.
outside this
It's
morning,
been
but
hot.
it feels cool and I'm enjoying the coolness. Unlike some
Amazing.
few days ago, it was really very hot. So the weather is
Okay.
kind of different today and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I hope it continues till the end of the day.
I wish I had the same luxury. I do not have the same, I do not have the same confession you have because I sweat a lot, and the littlest of heat, the littlest gets me restless. There was no light through the night, and then at some point they brought it in the morning. Okay, okay, there was light through the night. They took it at some point, and then I got restless. Sweat and all that. But that's by the way. Thank God there's part right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me quickly read your bio. It's a very long one, so I'm going to abridge
You probably
a
just
very rich
summarized.
one. Yes, I'll just do that. Okay, so Hadassah is a singer, published author, certified temperament and emotional intelligence coach, a cognitive behavioral therapist, Daystar Leadership Academy graduate, and currently on her path to becoming a clinical psychologist. Amazing. That's a wow. She specializes in helping people discover themselves, gain clarity of direction, navigate transition, manage their emotions, achieve their goals, and maximize their potential through the understanding of temperament and emotional intelligence. She has also trained staff of different, that's me cutting out some parts. I'm so sorry, it's so long. She has also trained staff of different organizations on how temperament and emotional intelligence can help with job selection, work productivity, relationship at work, leadership, and customer service. Her series, Who Am I with Hadassah, on all social media platforms has helped a lot of people understand their temperament, discover themselves, and identify their strengths and weaknesses. She has a book, her first published book, K Network, come on, okay, titled Help, Who Am I in 2020, where she explained in detail how understanding temperament is essential to searching for a way to tune into what God has embedded in us. It is like a vehicle that will take you to your destination. Okay, let me not bore us. We already have Hadassah in the building, like I usually say. So you're welcome. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you
Okay,
clearly.
beautiful. All right. So let's get it started. I do not have a prepared questionnaire for what today would look like. I usually tell my guests that it's more like a chat. We just chat, and expect that our viewers will grasp something, from what we're going to be discussing. So let's start with is what is temperament? What is temperament? I think that's a basic point to start from. What is temperament and why is it important to study our temperaments?
Okay. Let me start by saying this that our temperaments, like you said, you in the content of your post, that why
Yeah,
do we act the way we do, why we do the
yeah,
things we do, why we are different and things like that. So our temperament is like our entire makeup. It is who
okay,
we are. And of course, it's the reason why we do the things we do, the way we talk, the way we act. It's the reason why some people are extroverts while some people are introverts.
okay,
The reason why some people are outgoing while some just want to stay indoor all day. The
all
reason why
right,
some people are talkative while some people just want to be quiet. Like if you pour water in their mouth and you leave them for hours, you're still going to go back there and see and meet it just the way you left it there. So our
okay.
temperament is hereditary, it is biological,
Oh wow,
it is inbuilt, it is the real us. Let me just put it that way.
okay,
And most importantly, it is um, it is an entire makeup of it that forms our personality, our character, our behavior, and everything about us. Now, let me start by answering the first question that's normally surfaces whenever I find myself in,
okay,
platforms like this: is that can it change? So the
oh,
answer is no, it cannot change. It can
okay,
be influenced actually, but it cannot change because it is the real you. Your temperament is like the color of your skin, the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, like your pupil. Now, we can actually influence our skin color. We can influence our skin color, by especially us ladies, we just get some nice cream. We want to look lighter. We don't want to look
yeah,
too dark and all that. So, and the color of our hair also, sometimes we want to have it tinted. We just get tired of having it all black and things like that. So all those things can be done. You can influence it. So whether no matter how much I rub my cream and try to influence my complexion, it still
yeah,
doesn't change the fact that I'm black. That kind of a thing.
right,
The same
right,
thing with my hair color. If my hair color is black, no matter how much I try to tint it to different colors, be it gold, be it pink or whatever, someday it's still going to go back to its original color, which is black. And the same thing with my
mm-hmm.
pupils. We wear contact lens to look more beautiful and all that. But once the contact lens is removed, your color remains the same. So that is
Right,
exactly how temperament is. So your
yeah,
temperament is exactly the reason why you act the way you do. It is biological, it is hereditary. So that is it
okay.
about it.
Okay, so it's not learned. It's not a learned behavioral pattern. Something that you were
Not at
born
all.
with. It's inherent. Okay,
It is an inherent,
amazing.
yes, it is born with it, yes, exactly.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so having set that put that on the table, on the card, lay the
Okay.
cards on the table on what temperaments. Let's move on to the types of temperaments. Although without naming them, you've actually classified them by saying some are extroverts, some are introverts. So let's discuss the basic types of temperaments there are. I only know four. Okay, I think I know eight. Oh no, maybe 16. Okay, so let's have Hadassah tell us what are the basic temperaments there are. Okay, okay, while we wait.
Okay, we
Okay,
are back. I
she's
think
back
it was the
on.
network or so. I don't know if it's from your end or mine. Can you hear me? I'm still
Okay, I
here.
can hear.
I guess
Okay, I
it's the
can hear you
network.
now. I guess so
Okay, I
too.
guess the
I
network is
can hear you now.
fluctuating.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. You asked about the types of temperaments we have. Okay, let me
yeah.
quickly say this before then. I always like sharing this experience. When I was
Okay.
working with MCN as a customer care representative,
Okay.
I didn't want to mention the name of the telecommunication, but I
It's
did
fine.
already.
It's
Okay,
fine.
so in fact, it was exactly what I included it in the content of the post when I was trying to tell people
Yeah.
about it this morning. That working as a customer care representative was one of the most challenging jobs for me because naturally by nature, I'm a no-nonsense person. I am very strict and straightforward, principled.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
believe that people should have a way of doing things. You don't just live your life anyhow. And when you want to approach people, you should know the modalities, you should know how to go about it and things like that.
Okay.
So when I found myself working as a customer care representative, I realized that I was always having issues, like with every customer I called. They call you and they start telling you some rude things. And, I'm the kind of person that if you give it to me hot, I give it to you hotter, that kind of a
Hotter.
thing.
Right.
And you call and you're telling me about a fraud that occurred, that you were frauded because you were called that you won a lottery. And then you were asked to send a particular amount of money. And at the end of the day, after sending a particular amount of money, you didn't get anything in return. And you tried calling the number back, but the number was unreachable. So you had to call the customer care. And I'm always like, did you actually play the lottery in the first place? And they tell me no. So then one is very blunt and direct talking to them because it's not like I wasn't trained, my kind of person. Like
Yeah.
I'm just a no nonsense person by nature. So I was always getting flagged by the quality assurance. And in fact, there were times when I would be invited, why are you talking to customers like that and things like that? So it was terrible. And to me, I was actually doing the right thing because I felt somebody needed to speak sense
To
into
speak
these people.
truth
Why would we
into
just be
them. Yeah.
calling?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But I was made to understand that it doesn't work that way. In fact, at a point I felt like I
Mm.
was going to give up on this job. I was just like, I am the wrong person for this job because I
Yeah.
don't think I can tolerate the misdemeanor and the behaviors of these people and things like that.
Yeah.
But I got flagged severally. And I had to just sit down one day and ask myself that, are you really going to continue like this?
Like this.
So I sat down and fine, I've actually heard about temperament long before now, but I didn't really pay much attention. So I started reading more about it and, it opened my eyes to understand the fact that people are different. And it is important to understand and appreciate people's individuality for you to be able to have a
Yeah.
great relationship with them. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, you expect everybody to be like you, and the people that are not like you, you're going to be having a whole lot of problem with them.
Right.
And you will agree with me that we need relationships to survive in the world we
That's
are,
right.
and we
That's
need
right.
one another. And it is very important that one is sociable. And if you're not very good at relating with other people, then there's going to be a serious problem.
Right.
Because as you're climbing up the ladder of success, you're going to need people to help you. You're going to need to know how to manage people and all that. There is no how you will not deal with people, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to leadership. So it is important to understand. So I started reading, and so I just told myself that, okay, then I started paying attention to the manner of approach of each one of the customers. So from there, I understand that, okay, there are actually four different kind of people, and that's the four different temperaments I'm going to talk about now. Now, the
Okay.
first one is the sanguine temperament. The sanguine is spelled as, I don't know, if there, okay, there's a chart here. If anybody's
Yeah.
going to have a problem with the spelling, maybe I can actually help with
Put
that.
it out. Okay.
Let me see if I can.
All right.
Okay, let me just spell it so I won't waste our time. The sanguine is spelled as Sanguine. That's the
All right.
sanguine. Now, the sanguine people are the kind of lively, bubbly, fun-loving entertainers.
Boisterous.
There is never a dull moment when you're around this kind of people. There is this saying that a sanguine enters a room mouth first. And what they mean by that is you're likely going to hear the voice of a sanguine personality before you even see their face. Because anywhere they are
Okay.
very lousy. They are there. Okay.
Yeah.
And they exaggerate, they are fascinating storyteller. They love to be around people. They are naturally people's person,
Mm-hmm.
and they love to help people. They are very emotional by nature. They are the kind of people that feels deeply. When someone is mourning, they mourn with them. When
You're right.
someone is happy, they are genuinely happy for people. That's the way they have. That's the way they are made up. And one of their some of their weaknesses is that they exaggerate a whole lot, and they can be very, very disorganized. When you enter the apartment of a sanguine person, oh, it's always like their room is always like upside down, because they're always here and there, so they don't always have the time to like put the
Mm-hmm.
necessary things together and things like that. And another thing is they are always continually looking for approval from people.
Mm.
Like when they dress, they want to get complimented, they want to be
Yeah.
seen, they want to be heard. Now, this is not bad, but sometimes in the sanguine case, they become very obsessed with it. So it is like a kind of weakness. But their strength is that they are people's person. They get along with people very easily, and they can be very friendly as well.
Right.
And if you find yourself in maybe a terrible, moody situation, the sanguine can always be there to lighten up and brighten up your day. So that is one of their strengths. So
Wow.
the second people are okay. Now you can imagine sometimes when somebody who is a sanguine called back then, I believe that because usually I have a target, like a call I'm supposed to meet on a particular day, like I'm expected to answer a particular number of customers. But
Yeah.
back then, when somebody with sanguine calls, for instance, they want to tell stories, they want to have fun, they want to play. Whereas I'm at my
Right.
workplace, for God's sake, like I don't have the time to play. So just go
They
straight to
don't.
the point. Like I
Yeah.
just wanted them to talk, like tell me exactly how you want me to help you. But they want to
What
have
can we
fun, they
do
want
to
to make
help
you
you?
laugh. And no, I was not always buying that at all. Like, come on,
All
please, can
right.
you just go straight to the point,
Go
my friend?
straight.
I don't have the time for
Right.
this. So that is
Mm-hmm.
one. Then the second set of people are the choleric temperament. I think that's where I actually belong. A go-getter, street,
I
yeah,
heard
you
it
got
when you said
it.
street. I
A
heard it.
go-getter,
Yeah.
street, no
Mm.
nonsense, straightforward, direct. I want to do things the quick way, get easily bored with details. And
Mm-hmm.
now, these people are natural leaders, they are natural go getters. They
Yeah.
find it very easy to make decisions for themselves as well as for others.
Mm-hmm.
Challenges doesn't terrify them unlike some other temperament type. They thrive on challenges, they use
Yeah.
challenges to grow in life.
Mm-hmm.
They are very direct, they are straightforward, and they are always project oriented. They are always like involved in one project or the other. They are great
Yeah.
achievers, honestly, because when they set their mind on something, they try as much as possible to achieve it. But they also have their weaknesses, of course. One of their weaknesses is that they can be unemotional. They can be blunt, they can be strongly opinionated. Most choleric don't want to hear what other people have to say.
You did not
They
want to
feel that
use
their
the word
opinion has to
stubborn.
stand.
You did not
Exactly,
want to
that their
use the word
opinion.
stubborn. I know.
No, I won't say they are
Okay.
stubborn. There is a stubborn
Okay.
temperament, actually.
All
I won't say
righty.
they are stubborn. They just feel, will I say that they are kind of
Always right.
I think the best word would be kind of arrogant or proud, because they
Okay.
feel that nobody can do it better than them. Let me put it that
Okay.
way. They
Okay.
feel that whatever it is they know is like fine. They tend to always make very good decision, but that doesn't necessarily make them better than any other person. But
Right.
in their own case, oftentimes they see themselves as like the best. Like it's
Mm.
either my way or no other way, that kind of
No.
a thing.
Yeah.
So I would say like proud and kind of arrogant, like boastful, kind of that kind of a thing. And
Mm-hmm.
they also can be very, 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 very domineering. Most cholerics don't want to follow. They would rather
Mm.
lead. Because cholerics seldom want to
Yeah.
be followers. They would rather lead,
Yeah.
except the one who is spirit filled and spirit controlled. Maybe some
Yeah.
other time we'll talk about the spirit filled and spirit controlled
That's
temperament.
cool. That's
When
cool.
you have Jesus in your life, and I don't know if this is allowed anyway,
Oh,
when you have Jesus in
please.
your life and you are Holy Spirit filled, there are
Yeah.
some ways the Holy Spirit is going to help you with your weaknesses. And
Mm-hmm.
you just realize, in fact, sometimes, except I talk about it, sometimes when I tell people that, of course, the bluntness, the being direct is still there. And
Yeah.
of course, people know that I am very principled. But sometimes when I tell people that I am choleric by temperament, they find it very difficult to believe, because
Right.
some things that would ordinarily, piss me off, some things that would not ordinarily anger me, I think through the help of the Holy Spirit and deliberately and consciously working on myself, I realized that such things don't even move me anymore. But when I am
Mm.
dealing with a choleric, maybe somebody who is not like me, because I
Yeah.
understand, I know that I have to calm down when I'm dealing with this kind of people, because I know I was once like that. So that's just the
Mm.
truth about the choleric temperament. And so those are their strengths. They are weak. Okay, those are their weaknesses. Their strength is that they don't give up easily. Once they set
Okay.
their mind on something, oh, these people, and that is one of the reasons why they are achievers, like great achievers. Once they set their
Yeah.
mind on something, no matter the orders, no matter the challenges, no matter what comes their way, they ensure that they get it done. That is a choleric temperament for you. And they are very decisive.
Yeah.
When some people are still finding it difficult to make up their mind on what to do, never the choleric temperament, they find it very difficult to,
Mm.
very easy to make up their mind that this is what I want, and they go after it. And that is another one. And one other thing is that they can be very pushy. When they
Okay.
find themselves in the midst of people who are sluggish to get things done, all you need is to find someone who is choleric to be there. You discover that they can help people to be more productive, because they have a way of just motivating people and, challenging them to do better, beyond,
Yeah, they
move
are
away from
great
their comfort zone.
motivators. Right.
Exactly. And move
Mm-hmm.
from their comfort zone and do what they have to do. So they help people to be more productive. That's a choleric temperament. So I always refer back to my experience as a customer care representative as I talk
Okay.
about this. Now imagine, in those days, being choleric myself, and I have not really worked on myself as at that time. When somebody who is choleric called and the person is trying to command and give me instruction and talking to me anyhow and blunt, I actually put it there in my post that for every bass, there's always a double goes. Like, I'm always like giving it to them back, hot. So
Maybe
I was always getting flagged by the quality assurance. That, what's wrong
I
with
can
you?
imagine.
You don't talk to customers like that. Okay, like this telecom will tell you that, because several trainings that we had, they always tell us that customers are king. So they have to be treated as kings and things like that. But in my own opinion, I feel like, king my foot. You don't talk to me anyhow and expect to be treated like a king. No, I'm going to give you hot. It was really a very funny experience, but I thank God that I've actually grown way beyond that level now. So whenever I collect temperaments called them, in fact, I think majorly they were the ones I was always having issues with, because they always wanted to have things done their own way. And they would want to halt you, interrupt you, and teach you how you're supposed to do your job. I didn't find that funny at all. So I was always like giving it back to them. In fact, I remember there was a time I told one that, would you come back? Maybe will you come to resume so that I can take over my job, since you know how to do it better than me? Yes. And immediately the quality assurance flagged me, and they had to talk to me that, what's wrong with you? Are you sure you know? So, but I thank God that I know better now. Those
Right.
were days of ignorance, and I thank
Yeah.
God that I'm much better now. And of course, I should tell you that I ended up coming up as one of the best customer care representatives in that telecommunication. It
Okay.
was like a kind of surprise and a great achievement for me. And so many
Mm.
people that actually knew me, especially my superiors, they were very happy that we are glad that you improved. We're glad that you actually
Finally
that
improved.
really that at that side, really you. Like, you could actually be, in fact, I think I won an award about twice or once, or
Oh
yeah, something like
wow.
that. And sometimes I will receive a congratulatory message from the quality assurance that I was doing
Mm.
greatly well. So to tell you how
Amazing.
much I really improved, so
Improve.
I believe that there is no one who cannot work on themselves. And I always tell
Yeah.
people that your weaknesses are no excuses for making life miserable for other people. So don't tell me this is who I am. I don't
That's a
like
good
hearing
one.
that from people, that this is who
Yeah.
I am. You have to accept me for who I am. Excuse me.
Right.
We all have our weaknesses, so it is not an
Mm-hmm.
excuse to make life miserable for other people. You
Right.
should make it conscious and conscious effort to work on yourself and become a better person, so that
Mm-hmm.
everybody around you will understand. So even when sometimes you do things, that are completely out of it, they will understand that maybe you've been pushed to the wall and know that this is your regular self and things like that. So that's the choleric temperament. Now let's talk about the melancholic. Okay, so I am
Okay.
personally a combination of three temperaments. I must let you
Okay.
know that everybody combines more than one temperament. So we
Yeah.
are either a combination of two or three temperaments. So I'm a combination of three, and of course, the melancholic is my secondary temperament.
Oh,
So now
wow.
the melancholic are these ones are, I call them Mr. and Mrs. Perfect because they are perfectionists. They want
Okay.
things to be done perfectly. They don't like it when things are with flaws, no matter how little. They don't want to see it at all. They want everything to be perfectly done. They
Yeah.
are very organized people. Oh God, these guys are so organized. Like I remember back then when I was in school, I used to have this friend that okay, then I didn't really understand that she was melancholic. In fact, at the point, I knew that myself and some other friends were thinking she was probably a witch because because
Why?
because she was so organized that
My.
when you touch something that belongs to her and you try as much as possible to put it back the same way you met it, oh my God, not her. When she comes back, she would know that somebody has tampered with her things.
Somebody
So always
did.
like, how did
Mm.
she know, for God's sake? Like everybody would always make like a kind of joint effort to ensure that she doesn't know, but she would know. So they are gifted perfectionists, and
Yeah.
research also has it that they have the highest intelligent quotient. They are very,
Mm.
very, very intelligent. These are not the kind of people you want to deceive. You don't want to like. Let me say that they are natural detectives. I think most
Mm.
melancholies, I always recommend that they should work as maybe CIDs, or they should work with maybe FBI, those top
Intelligent.
detective agents,
Yeah.
because they have what it takes. Like
Yeah.
they are very, very intelligent, and they can be very secretive. They can be very secretive, and they experience something called mood swing. This moment they are lively, and the next moment they're just back into their shell, and you've been wondering what happens to them. So they experience some mood swing. And
Okay.
one thing about the melancholic is also that they have a very great foresight.
Okay.
They can see into the future beyond every other, like much more than every other temperament type. So when you maybe seek their advice on something and they try to guide you that you should
Yeah.
go about it this way, and you don't want to listen. The truth is, at
Okay.
the end of the day, you might end up regretting it, and they will always be there at one corner saying, "I told you,"
I
that kind of a
told
thing.
you. Yeah.
Because yeah, because they have this. I think they're just gifted in that way. And
Okay.
another thing about the melancholic temperament is that they are very hard to please. I think that is one of their weaknesses. They want to have everything done their own way. So they
Okay.
have very high standards for themselves, and so they expect the same from every other person. So it's
Okay.
either it is that standard or not.
Or
They don't want to
nothing.
settle for anything less. And this always affects their move, and it also slows down their progress. Because when somebody like the sanguine and the choleric are getting things done, the melancholic is still waiting to have everything figured out before taking a step. And I'm sure you know what that means. So when someone is already achieving 50, 100 things, the melancholic is still achieving maybe the fourth or the fifth because they want to
Okay.
have everything figured out. So what I always tell people who are melancholic is, especially dominantly melancholic, is that you must understand that there is no successful person, there is no great achievers that has everything figured out before they take step. You
Mm.
must have to, have faith to take step and allow unforeseen forces to back you up. Once you make up your mind to do something, go ahead and do it. Nobody, I don't think there is anyone that's always have everything figured out before taking steps.
Right.
Because if you want to wait before you have it all figured out, if you want to wait till you have everything perfect, you might not get anything done at all, and you just be stagnant and you'll be laid back. So that's it about the melancholic temperament. So their weaknesses is that they are secretive, they are hard to please, they can be very malicious. Oh, they can be very unforgiving too. When you offend them, they may not even open their mouths to tell you. And they can be devising a myth to get back at you. That is one thing about the melancholic temperament. They can be devising a myth to get back at you. And they have this false spirituality that they always portray. I always say that check melancholics, especially those that always claim that they are like great worshiper and always like, I trust God, I'm this, I love God, I'm a worshiper, and they can be very religious, honestly. But deep down in their hearts, in oftentimes they're always filled with bitterness, like because somebody somewhere has offended them that they have not forgiven. So I believe when the Bible is really talking about forgiveness, mostly I'm sure the emphasis is majorly for the melancholy temperament, honestly,
Oh, wow.
because they can you can offend them and they'll still have in mind for the next 5 6 years, and maybe one day you're just talking about something and they'll just refer back to what you did 6 years ago and be like, what? And the truth is, you might not even know that you've done something wrong. So that is one of their weaknesses. But their strength is that they have great foresight. They are very, very intelligent. They are very artistic. Yeah. Most of the wonderful musicians and artists that we have in the world today, as in really successful ones, are melancholic by their temperament. They are very analytical and details. They pay attention to details. So that is one of the reasons why if you touch anything that belongs to them, they can easily find out. So that is it about the melancholic temperament.
Okay.
And yeah, as a customer care representative too, I remember that when somebody who is melancholy called, for instance, oh God, the choleric in me gets bored with details. Like, I want you to just hit the
Go
nail right on
straight
the head,
to the point.
go
Yeah.
straight to the point. But melancholies want to analyze, they want to give you the old details, how it started 10 years ago and how it's going now. And they will even tell you the possible problem they are likely to encounter in the future. And I'm always like, what? So I was always pissed off with people like this. And so I'm sure you can imagine how I'll be really kind of person. Just go straight to the point. Can you please just hit the nail right on the head? What exactly do you want me to do for you? And you will hear things like, please calm down. Let me explain myself.
Oh my goodness.
So it was just very funny. All right, so that's it with the melancholic temperament. And
Yeah.
finally, the phlegmatic temperament. Now, the phlegmatic temperament are, should I say like that, kind of the sweetest of all the four temperaments. They are
Mhm.
cool, they are calm, they are collected, and very agreeing, agreeable. And they are also people's person. And the reason why they are people's person is because they are very submissive. This kind of people, they don't like conflicts. Conflict terrifies them. They prefer to even apologize for something they didn't do because they want peace to reign. They are peacemakers, your name, peace. So they are peacemakers. They are peacemakers and they are
Yeah.
very quiet. They are very easy to actually notice in a place. They're just there. Whatever it is you say is okay by them. They can be very
Mm.
indifferent. They won't show you whether they are supporting this one or supporting that one. I really don't like that about them. They're always on the fence. You won't know whether they are for you, this one or they are for this one.
They don't
And the
want
reason
to
why they
offend
do that
any
is because they
party.
don't want to get anyone angry.
Exactly.
So so they want to just be here and be there. That's not really good anyway, but that's just the way they
It
are,
works
that's the
for
way they are
them.
created. They are very easygoing and they can be very good friends, very reliable,
Mm.
and they're the kind of people that most people today always take for granted. Honestly, I always say that because whatever it is they do against them, they can always find their way back into their hearts. And because of that,
Mm.
people take them for granted. I think that's really not fair. The kind of people that are really going to take them for granted mostly are the choleric temperament. But one thing about the phlegmatic is that they can be unbothered and unruffled. Because
Mm.
in fact, these people are just wonderful. God is just creative and wonderful. Sometimes when I sit down and I think about this whole temperament, I'm always like, wow. And a fool will say there is no God. And God took his time to create people differently, for us
Differently.
to have the world that we have today.
Diversity
Because the
and
truth is, no matter how much you get irritated by the other temperamental, we still need one another.
need, yeah.
We need one another, and God is a God of diversity. God has already figured it all out that it won't be nice to have all sanguine as the members, the population of the earth. It won't be nice to have all choleric. It won't be nice to have all this and
Right.
all that. That we
Mm-hmm.
need a blend, so that there can be a balance. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why we are who we are today. So the phlegmatic, their weaknesses is that now, amazingly, I was telling you that Choleric are not really stubborn. They're just proud and arrogant. Now, the
Okay.
phlegmatic is the most stubborn of all the four temperaments. And this is because once they make up their mind on something, they don't accept changes easily. They don't always welcome change. When they've already figured out a way of doing something, like for instance, the way we used to do things 10 years ago is not the way they do things now. They're the
Yeah.
kind of people that want to stick to their old ways of doing things, even when you try to convince them that this is the 21st century and there are new innovations, there are new ways of doing things. They don't want to change. And these people can be kind of laid back too. They
Yeah.
don't want much out of life. They believe in this. I know if you know the song, Kill Sarah, Sarah, what
What
will
will
be, will
be?
be.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like that song because I don't believe what will be, will be. I believe that it is whatever you make to be that will be. So when people sing that song, I'm always like, please don't sing that song beside me. I don't like it. So I think that song
Okay.
is actually meant for the phlegmatic. They don't
All
want
right.
to, they are not ambitious. Let me put it that way. They don't want
They are,
to
they are
be, they don't want
usually
to.
afraid. There's
Exactly.
fear
They're
embedded
okay
in.
with the little. They
Yeah,
don't want to
status
strive
quo.
to be better.
Yeah.
And for instance, still talking about the changes, maybe you have a phlegmatic who is teaching, they make very good teachers who is teaching, and you tell them that there's another opportunity where maybe they're earning 150,000 naira where they work, and you tell them that there's another opportunity that you'll be earning 250,000 naira on a monthly basis. They can tell you that, oh, let me just be doing this one for now, maybe later, and they can be very procrastinating as well. Maybe later I'm going to do some other ones. It is a lie. It is not because
Mm,
maybe later or whatever. They just get comfortable easily. Like they
comfortable.
enjoy their comfort zone because they must have thought about the fact that maybe it's going to be stressful applying for another job, going for
Starting
interview.
afresh is an issue.
Exactly. So thank you
Mm,
very much. Fear of the unknown and all that. So they are just okay with whatever it is they have. So that is some of their weaknesses. And when they even know something and they're capable of something, they don't want to come out to do it, except there is a more pushy temperament around them that can always expose them that I know this person can do this thing. And they push the
mm,
person forward to do it. And they can make great leaders too. That's one of their strengths. But that's if they are given the opportunity or somebody who is around recognizes them because they are cool and they know how to make peace with every other people. I think that's one leadership qualities that many people really don't have today. So
yeah.
if a phlegmatic has other maybe outgoing temperament like the choleric, let's say the phlegmatic is the dominant temperament and the
Yeah.
choleric is like the secondary temperament, they can make very good
Excellent leader.
leaders. So that is about the four temperaments. So quickly, I will say this, like, I was saying the other time that God is a God of diversity.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that, now imagine a world where everybody is sanguine. Just create a mental picture of a world where we all are sanguine temperaments. I think we will all just want to have fun and get nothing done. I think we're just going to be having party after party. We just want to have fun. We just want to play. We won't get anything done. So that is it. If the world is filled with sanguine temperament, now imagine a situation whereby God created us all as choleric. Now everyone will want to lead, but no one will want to follow because, of course,
Right.
all choleric temperaments want to be
Okay.
leaders. So if you
Okay.
want to lead and I want to lead and my neighbor wants to lead, so who is going to follow? We're going to have a
Mm,
serious problem. But thank God,
mm,
God did not make us all choleric. And if God had made us all melancholic, I
yeah.
just imagine that we're all melancholic. We'll just be waiting to have everything perfectly done, and we won't get anything done at the end of the day
Mm,
because we want to have everything perfect. And if God had made us all phlegmatic, yeah, it would be a peaceful world, but I guess it's going to be very boring. Like,
okay.
it's going to be very boring and we won't achieve much. So it's a beautiful thing that God created us the way we are. It's a beautiful thing that
That's why he's the
some are
all-wise God.
sanguine, some are choleric, some are
Mhm.
phlegmatic, and some are melancholic.
Okay.
So, and variety, they say, is the spice of life. So
Exactly.
God has really spiced
Exactly.
up the world to make us who we are. So that is it about the four temperaments.
I was going to cut in and just bring in a little question. That's been an amazing expose. Trust me. Most of the things you said here, I have read about. It's interesting to have someone read them out to you, in quotes,
To
read them
you.
out to and then describe them in terms that are relatable. And you could just, as you're talking, I could just think of maybe one of my sons, and I'm like, I know, or think of
Yeah,
an
like you
experience
just
of mine,
remember
you know,
someone that you know very well that falls into that
that
category.
that falls into a particular category. Okay, so having said this, because we have just few minutes to round up, I'd like you to quickly tell us how or why it's important to understand these temperaments. From what you're saying, the reason or the importance is obvious, but let's just hear you tell us why it's important. Because when you described where you when you worked as a telecoms customer representative, you obviously met different kinds of people. Knowing what you know now, if you were placed in that scenario one more time, you would do things differently. While you were there, obviously you were not operating from this knowledge that you just put forward. So why is it important to study temperaments? Why is it important to know yours, and then to identify that of the person who you come in contact with? Why is it very important? I'm obviously kind of trying to answer the question at the same time, but I'd like you to bring it on.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome.
number one, as a temperament and emotional intelligence coach, there is a part of emotional intelligence that talk about self-awareness. The five
Yeah.
keys of emotional intelligence. One of it is self-awareness. Now, understanding temperament helps you to be more self-aware. Okay, it helps you to understand yourself deeply. It helps you to
Mm,
understand your strengths and your weaknesses. It helps you to understand
right.
what triggers your emotions. It helps you to understand what can make people push you against the wall. It helps you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses and how to also manage them. And the truth
Right.
is, when you're already self-aware, believe me, it will help you to be able to regulate yourself. Okay, because you already know this is who I am. This is
Yeah.
what I'm liable and capable of. So when you
Yeah.
see things that are going to be like triggers, you know how you're going to manage and regulate them. Okay,
Right.
that is one. Then secondly, understanding temperament not only makes you understand yourself, it helps you to understand other people as well. Okay, because
Yeah.
um, you're likely going to have a lot of clashes with people if you don't understand their individuality. You'll just be wondering that why is this person
Yeah.
different from me? Why is this person acting this way? Why is this person doing things this way? Okay, like you're in a workplace, for instance, in a workplace, for instance, and the sanguine temperaments, one of their makeup, the way God has designed them, is that they can't sit in a place. They're always here and there because they're fun lovers. They want to go and relate with people. Now, if you find yourself in an office environment and you see sanguine moving up and down, you can see that person as unserious. That's the truth. Like, why is this person jumping here and there and you're just jumping here and there? You're not supposed to sit down at your workspace. The truth is, that is the way they are. So they are actually not designed for an office environment. They are designed to work in a field, where they will
Mm,
have access to relate with people,
yeah.
that kind of a thing. So if you don't understand, if you have a colleague like that, maybe in your team, and you don't
Yeah.
know how to fit them properly, like get the best of them, you're going to be
Yeah.
having a problem. You're going to have a problem with that kind of a person. So the second one is that it helps you to understand people. Then when it
Yeah.
comes to job placement, let me just put in that one because it's interwoven now. When it comes to
Okay.
job placement, we have many organizations who select people wrongly to fit in and manage so many positions. They are misfits. Okay, it is
Mm,
quite unfortunate that the setting we find ourselves in this part of the world. You go to the university, you study something that is not in sync with who you are. People go to their institution to study courses because of peer pressure, parental pressure, societal
mm,
pressure. Like, okay, I want to study medicine. Why? Because many people I believe that doctors are earning huge money. I want to study accounting, I want to study law. Because those names like law, I'm studying law, that kind of
yeah.
thing. I'm studying medicine, I'm studying like there's a way it sounds. But when you mention
Mm,
things like I'm studying theater arts, they believe that when you tell people you're studying theater arts, they see that like you're serious, that kind of a thing. So that
yeah.
has made people choose something that is not in sync with their temperament type. And at the same time, it affects their job placement. It is
Mm,
what you study that they want to employ you as. And at the end
yeah.
of the day, you realize that you're not enjoying what you do. and you're not really performing. Maybe you're underperforming. You're not productive as you ought to be. So I always say to people, especially HRs, that it is important to find out the temperaments of those you're employing so that you're able to place them correctly. And also for students, it can help you to actually go into the institution to study a course that you're actually designed for. Now, this is a perfect example. I always refer to someone like Funke Akindele. I'm sure, are you aware that she actually studied law? You know,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I always ask some of my students in Temperaments Academy that, now imagine she decided to practice law. Do you think she would be as popular as she is today? Do you think she would be so successful and famous? Now, without deceiving ourselves, the answer is no. Fine, she can be successful, but not as much as she is right now. Okay, it is only very few people who are able to actually go and study something that is in sync with their temperament type. Some are
Yeah.
fortunate enough to navigate, and redirect their path to
Yeah.
exactly what they want, but it is not everyone who is that fortunate. Some
Yeah.
people are already trapped. I have friends who are earning a whole lot of money where they work, but the sense of fulfillment is not there. you know that is another thing. If you understand temperaments, you choose the right path, and it helps you to be more fulfilled. you
Yeah.
know and also, when it comes to marriage and compatibility, choosing a life partner, it goes a long way, it plays a major role. It is important to understand compatibility, temperament
Mm.
compatibility in relationship, to know that, okay, am I compatible with this kind of person? Are we going to make a great couple? Fine. It's not like if you're already married to a temperament that is not so compatible with you, it's not like you can't be successful or you can't have a successful marriage. Because when you understand it, at least you start studying each other, you understand that, okay, this is this person's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
They know how you can help each other to manage it. But at least you stand a better chance when you know the temperament compatibility of the person and yours, as in whoever it is you want to spend the rest of your life with, you stand a better
Right.
chance when you know their temperament before you even go into marriage. So you can sit down and be honest with yourself that, okay, I'm choleric. Do I really want to marry a choleric like me?
Hmm.
Okay, if I want to settle down for a choleric like me, how am I going to be submissive? How, as a woman, that will I be able to be submissive to this kind of person? What are other qualities I have to look out for? It really matters a lot.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when you hear about irreconcilable differences, I think this is usually the issue,
Yeah.
temperament differences and not being able to manage it. So that's to mention a few, because there are really a whole lot. In fact, when it
A
comes to
whole lot.
parenting,
Mm-hmm.
understanding your children and their differences, and
Yeah.
not seeing a child as better as another one. Temperament
Mm-hmm.
plays a major role. You understand that, okay,
Yeah.
this child is like this, and you appreciate and nurture them for who they are. You don't expect all your
Yeah.
child to be serious, or you don't expect all your child to be lively and just be jumping around. And when you see a child that is just cool, wants to sit down all day, you don't condemn that child and start calling them names. You
Mm.
understand that this is this child's
This
design.
is what this
And also at
child.
school, for teachers, it helps teachers to be able to manage their children and know their strengths. I mean, their students, and helps them to be able to know their strengths and weaknesses as well. Some of the temperaments are not really like a choleric, for instance, may not want to be completely focused when it comes to details and things like that. So, but that doesn't mean they can't be brilliant. They can be, and a melancholic, for instance, who is like artistic, enjoy something that has to do with artwork and
Yeah.
other intelligent stuff that has to do with calculation. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
sanguine, for instance, may not even want to sit down in the class because it just wants to have fun, just wants to be jumping
Jumps
around.
over
So it
all over the place.
exactly. So it will help the teacher to know how to manage them better.
Right.
So it covers
Right.
all spheres. It covers all spheres in life.
Okay.
But that's just a few of the reasons why it is important to understand the temperament.
Amazing. So, in rounding off now, how do you think? I know you're already doing it. You're training people, and I'm sure you're going from schools to schools, submitting maybe proposals so you could train
Yes.
teachers, train school owners, even because most school owners don't even understand.
Yeah.
Of course, they are also employers. They need to know the kind of people they bring into their organization. So, what are we doing
Yeah.
to ensure that this topic, this concept, this whatever you want to call them, what are you doing to ensure that it gets into every part of every facet, because I know a lot of people are also doing what you're doing, but what are you doing particularly? Let's hear from you exactly what you're doing to ensure that more people get to know about the temperaments and how to manage them.
Okay, number one, I have a platform where I teach people generally, and that's on
Yeah.
Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn.
Okay.
There is a program I run. I called it "Who Am I" with Hadassah. There, I
Okay.
teach people. I make posts every now and then on temperament, emotional intelligence, and things like that. And of course, I get invitations to speak in schools, in organizations, and I train staff of organizations too.
Okay.
Especially when they recruit staff newly, so that they will understand themselves and know how to work together as a team and things like that.
Okay.
And of
Okay.
course, I go to churches to speak as well. And I also have a book that I launched in 2020. Help, Who Am I? That's the title of the
Oh
book.
my. Yeah.
It's available on Amazon, and I also have the hard copies in some bookshop. And so I try as much as possible to tell as many of those who care to listen that is essential. You understand what temperament means. It can help you navigate, it can help you to be more successful, it can help you to be more fulfilled. You
Yeah.
love what you do. You know that this is the right thing I am designed for. So and all that. And of course, with the help of people like you giving me the opportunity to speak,
Right.
it is another way of creating awareness for people to understand
Right.
about temperament. So it
Right.
actually goes a long way, going to TV stations and all that. So it
Yeah.
helps a great deal. And I'm glad that people are already aware about it. Sometimes I
Yeah.
get calls randomly from people. I get messages that thank you for this thing you're teaching. That I've actually heard about them, but I've actually heard about temperament. But you make it so easy, like understanding it and everything that
Mm.
will help us to develop more interest in it. So I'm glad that I'm able to contribute my own part in my own little way.
Amazing. It's not little at all. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this. I just wish more people would get interested in not just understanding the title, the names those temperaments are called, but getting to know that people act the way they do because of a certain nature of theirs. And then,
Yeah,
of course, like you also said, because it's your nature does not mean you should just remain like that. You do things to harness
exactly.
yourself to be able to fit into the general society and not be a nuisance to people because it's just your nature. Okay, so thank you so much. I appreciate we've used 7 minutes into, of course, we did not start on time, but then
Yeah,
you've shared a whole lot.
it's
Encourage
okay.
I would like to encourage everyone who was a part of this to continue to share the link to this video. And everyone who will come to watch later, please do help us sharing this video. Let more people be aware. Let more people be aware, and it will go a long way. Before we round up, I would like to quickly read Hadassah's social media handles. She's Follow her, please. Of course, you heard that she does some free stuff on Facebook where she teaches people about temperaments and about that. I was thrown off for a minute there. Okay, so her social media handles are on Instagram, she's at Hadassah underscore Abosede. That's Abosede, right? And
Yeah,
on Facebook, you find her at Hadassah Abosede Beatrice. On LinkedIn, sorry, I missed the
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, that's can
It's
you
the same
quickly
thing
give
as
us
Facebook.
as Facebook?
The
Okay, so
same thing
that's
as
as
Facebook, and yes.
Hadassah Abosede Beatrice. So do please follow her. Um, if she organizes master classes on temperaments, trust me, you would want to be a part of this. I'm interested myself. I have a diploma in social work. I actually wrote a book in 2006 called Silent Smile, The Victor Within. And in that book, I did a little bit of this temperament stuff. I talked about the id, I talked about some personality stuff in it. So it's actually interesting every time I get to listen over and over again because I do not do all those anymore. I'm more like doing what what I'm called to do, be a go between resources and the people who need them. So if I feel that there's a need, there's a vacant need, a need, let me call it that, for people to understand or be aware of certain things, I bring on someone who I feel is vast in that field and let them educate people. And then if you need more resources on that, please go ahead. Don't even bother about me. Go ahead and learn more, whatever it will cost you. I know knowledge is expensive, like they say. If you think knowledge is
Oh,
expensive, try ignorance.
try
Okay,
ignorance. Yeah.
I'm sure when you were working as a customer service, if you knew that you could improve on yourself, even though at that time you were doing well for yourself, obviously, but I'm sure that right
I
now
did.
you
I
will
actually
feel that,
went for trainings that I paid
oh,
for.
oh, you
I
can
went for
imagine
training.
that.
I paid for seminars. In fact, I took some
Okay,
online courses that I paid for
okay,
so I could
okay,
improve on myself and even learn more about temperaments because,
right,
I became really interested in it. And of course, that's one of the
right.
reasons why I got better and maybe even turn
Mm-hmm.
out as some of the best customer care representative. So, like you said,
Amazing.
no knowledge is wasted. We can always work
Right,
on improving on ourselves and
right.
aspire towards becoming better. I should have
That's
even
right.
asked you. So, where do you think
Okay.
you belong?
I actually said something to that effect when I opened the show because I usually
Okay.
used to think that I'm a sanguine from the days when I read
I think
about.
you're far from somewhere.
You can imagine that. I used to think I was a sanguine until we did the personality test. I think the first time I did it was in my former church, and it gave me a funny reading. I was like, no, I'm not that. And then in Daystar, in Daystar Academy, in 200 level, you
Yeah,
do,
Pastor Sam Adeyemi. Pastor
yes,
Sam Adeyemi is always talking about temperament. And even
temperament.
you attended Digital Leadership Academy, right? I'm
Yes,
sure
I've
you
done the
heard
basic
about,
class.
yeah.
Yes, we did
So that
that.
is one, yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
like
even
that
in the
about Daystar. They
200,
will
in the
always educate
200,
you.
200 level should be, is it mentor? No, I've forgotten what it's called now. 100 level is membership, 200 is it mentorship? I can't remember what it's called now.
I honestly
Class.
can't remember either.
I can't remember too. Okay, but we did a personality test in that class,
Yeah.
temperament personality test, and I came out as a male flag, and I was like, no, I'm not melancholic. But right now, I think I think I would understand why that result came out because you talked about the melancholic having mood swings. Sometimes they are so lively, at other times they are. So maybe my lively moments give me off, make me feel that I'm a sanguine because I feel. But I do realize that there are times I want to be by myself. It's not an extreme case, but I just realized that I just need some me time. I just want to be by myself. I want to reflect. I want to, it's a whole lot, really,
No
So,
sanguine will ever feel that way. In fact,
oh
sanguine
my
feel
goodness,
uncomfortable. They feel uncomfortable when they are not around people. So it's the other way
people.
around. So
Oh,
if
so
you
I'm
want to
actually
always be by
well.
yourself,
Oh,
sometimes like
goodness.
you just want it. Yeah, it happens to me a lot to like in fact, sometimes when people say, I'm not even going to come and visit you, or I'm not available, I'm always like, in my mind, like, you're actually doing me a favor.
A
Because I'm
huge
a very
favor.
private person. Like, I just want to be alone. It
Mm-hmm.
helps me to think, it helps me to be more productive. I notice that my most
Mm,
productive moment is when I'm alone. So I
mm,
get easily distracted when I have too many people around me. I don't like
around.
it. So when
Mm.
you say, I'm not coming, I'm not visiting you, you're actually doing me a favor,
Thank you
honestly.
so much for not coming. Oh wow, that's great. That's great. Okay, so thank you so much for coming along. I appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. And
Thanks for having me
from
as well.
on this platform, we also say thank you for coming on. It's been a whole lot that you've shared. I'm sure we would not have been able to pay for it. Okay, maybe we would have, but of course it would have cost us something. So right now, it's like I said in my post, we are getting it for free. But obviously, like I also do sometimes, there are topics that we've treated on the show that I've had to tell my guests. I'm like, this is something that I feel that we could do something together and have a paid class for people who want to
Yeah.
know better, want extra understanding of the concepts that we just talked about because we could not have digested everything, in 1 hour. So we could actually look at having a class in the future where people will come together, pay something, just something to, show that they are parting with something to earn a new knowledge or to further something they know. Okay, so we'll probably look into that in the nearest future. Yeah, so thank you so very much, Hadassah. The network has been, funny today, fluctuating here and there, but on the general, it's been amazing. And I want to appreciate you and appreciate everyone who joined in on the show. I'm actually getting comments from WhatsApp. I know some people joined on YouTube and some are here on Facebook, while some others probably must have viewed from Twitter. I want to appreciate everyone who has been a part of our show today. We've talked about temperaments and how well do you know you. If you're not sure, you should go back and view this video, listen again to the things she explained and find where you fit in. I'm sure you find somewhere you fit in. You might find out that among the 4 temperaments she shared, you have probably one or two that kind of summarizes you. Okay, so you probably know that you are a blend of maybe one or two of them, or maybe three. So understand it and then understand the people who come in contact, who you come in contact with. Okay, so sometimes too, I think I've been in places where people look at me and say, you are a kineko, you are a, sorry, I used vernacular. You are not a choleric, you're a sanguine, people, there are people who understand it so much that when they come in contact with people, that's the first thing, they put forward at them. Understanding it helps us foster good relationships, great relationships, not just good ones. So please do go ahead and study more about temperament, study more about who you are or who the temperament say you are. And then it will obviously help to make things better. Okay. Lama is asking which one am I? Said, go back and listen to Hadassah and find out which one you are. Thank you for joining there. Thank you so much. Eric Banam, you joined us from YouTube. I do not understand what you put forward. I'm seeing VYNFYI. I don't know if that's a code word, but I obviously know that you joined us at some point, and I want to appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Ulama, you're late because we're just about ending the show right now, but you could do a recap of the video, and please drop your comments when you do. By God's grace, I'll be coming your way again next week. Do not forget that for the whole of this month, we are treating understanding your personality. It's more like so that you can build a better you, understanding your personality. So we're going to be doing more of stuff around this, and then a little bit on emotional health or emotional intelligence. It's very important that we do that. Okay, so by the time this month is over, thank you so much, dear. I appreciate. By the time this month is over, you should have done one or two things to develop your personality. Don't remain, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be forever and ever and ever till I die. And it doesn't work that way. There has to be something you can work on to improve on yourself, improve yourself in relationships with people. Okay, like I usually say, like come your way again next week. Keep being kind, keep being the reason someone goes to bed with a smile on their face. All right, bye for now. God bless you.